long enough, I think it's not a question of if you'll go through a situation that really makes you reevaluate what you think and believe, or it's more a matter of when. And what will that be like when you have to really understand, is this still something I can believe, or why is it not helping enough, or something like that. So this word of crisis comes into play. And I wanted to spend a week talking about that. A reminder of the email that came out, kind of 3 recommendations when you go through whatever that situation might be. Even last week, when you think through that stress inventory and what are those 25 items on there and how do you stand firm, a lot of those situations can lead to some of these crises, these existential questions that'll come to mind when it's unexpected, especially, and your ability to cope or manage it is taxed. So, number one, it was like, don't bail on it. Hold fast to those convictions and beliefs you have. Uh, Stay grounded on it. Don't start to doubt it right away. The follow up of that is, hopefully, as you are investing, the second one, as you invest in other people and they invest in you, be a good listener. Those are really challenging times when someone's going through a crisis that's making them doubt what they think and believe and how they act. So it's kind of a sensitive time. So instead of, it's hard to see friends and family in pain, and oftentimes people blurt out like directives too early because they don't want to see this person in pain. So my advice is just be a listener and encourager. Encourage them to stand firm in some of those beliefs and convictions. Or this third recommendation I talked about is, don't make any big decisions during those crises that are making you doubt some of those internal core beliefs. If the people joke and say don't make big decisions in the middle of winter, it's a simple passing phrase that I'll say the same thing when it comes to a challenging crisis or something. Just stand firm, coast through it. There'll be a time, yes, when it lessens or you feel more like yourself or you've caught your breath. Then you can evaluate, what should I do? How should it go? Maybe there's a belief in there to modify. So um, some good things there to read through if you haven't already. Building on that, I think one of the things to do for a homework assignment is just to take some time and reflect, what are my core beliefs, whether it's about myself, the world around me, the things I want to be known for. It's one thing for someone to go through a difficult situation and they completely stop acting like themselves. That is something that becomes even another layer of regret because someone feels like they weren't consistent or they didn't carry themselves the way they wanted about their immediate family members or people that they care about. So, encouraging everyone to take a few minutes this week and kind of write out, what do you want to be known for, even when everything else feels like it's out of control. A second homework was trying to just write down, what have you learned through the difficult times. Again, my assumption is if you haven't been through a crisis already, it'll come, but a lot of people have been through something. And if you can think back and remember that wisdom, write it out. That's another layer of resiliency that you can remind yourself of, hold on to, and cling to even in a crisis. So, wherever that basis is of your convictions, your beliefs, your worldview, I'm just encouraging people to stay grounded on it, know what it is ahead of time, so that you're prepared for anything that might come. We'll kind of dig into that a little bit more this morning. One of the things that was kind of taking me in this direction of those big questions in life, or existential ones, is thinking about, like, Sunday is Easter, right? So a major holiday throughout the world, thinking about those things. So whether that's something you celebrate or not, it's a significant day. And everyone goes through a crisis where they ask those questions. So that's what led us to it this week. But thinking about some facts to do things, because some Easter, adults might associate with faith, kids associate it with candy. So let's talk a little facts about some Easter candy that comes through, because these numbers are interesting. In 2024 alone, Americans spent over $3 billion on Easter candy. That's a lot of money. I'm sure that's more money spent there than some other things. 16 billion jelly beans are consumed at Easter time. If you're wondering how much that is, that's enough to circle the world 3 times if you laid each one end to end. That's a lot of jelly beans. Kids, age 6 to 11, 70% of kids prefer to eat jelly beans one at a time. Kind of savoring that. Maybe you're a handful person, right? Picking the colors you want. The other big candy for Easter, right? What is it? We'll get to Peeps. 90 million chocolate bunnies are produced each year for Easter. 90 million. 89% of people surveyed said you should start eating at the ears. Only 5% said start eating at the tail. So, you know if you're right or wrong on that one. Depending on when you get your Easter bunny, you'll think twice about what happens. Yes, and then finally some facts about Peeps. 700 million Peeps are bought at Easter each year, and yellow is the most popular color. 700 million of those little things. Peeps have a shelf life of 2 years, so if you don't get through the million that you buy for Easter, they can come back next year. This was an interesting thing. They're virtually indestructible to other liquid tests to prove that shelf life. So scientists throwing them in a variety of chemicals, including water and some others, they held their form and lasted. So you really got to chew well on those things. And the last interesting fact is in 1953, when they were invented, it took 27 hours to create one of those things. But now, in 2024, it only takes 6 minutes. So yay technology, right? But what did they infuse in that to go from 27 hours to 6 minutes? Very, very interesting. So, any Peep fans around here? Peeps are cool. It's like 50-50. Okay. Not for me. All right. Chocolate bunnies? That's good. Yeah. Mini robin's eggs? Nah, that's where it's at right there. Yeah. So now we have a good topic to talk about during the workout today. Uh-huh. Homemade popcorn balls. There you go. Bringing it back into us for some questions here. Just asking, what are some of your best memories of Easter? Whether you think about, is it the candy? Is it something about your faith? Is it something about just the Sunday afternoon get-togethers, perhaps? What comes to mind for you in regards to this year? It's April 20th, but just thinking about Easter traditions through the years, or family get-togethers, or Sunday afternoons. What really is a good memory you have of this coming Sunday? Yeah, family Easter egg hunts. Yeah, that's good. Others? Lunch at grandma's? Yeah. I suppose I could have asked, what is the meat you eat on Easter? Is it a turkey? Is it a ham? Is it roadkill? Right? Is it whatever nature provided? Um, I think I'm partial to the steak tradition we're starting. That's good. Okay, but just be thinking about that. I think it's a really good afternoon to be able to spend some of that time. More related to our topic this week, how have you supported someone that's gone through one of those crises that's challenged their beliefs and convictions? What really helped you? So they went through a health crisis. Think of that list from last week. Maybe they were going through a divorce, maybe they're going through the loss of somebody. What have you done to help somebody in one of those crises where they're really just asking, what's next? Why is this happening? What should I do? Those kind of things. What have you found help them? Shared some Peeps, yeah. Or some lasagna, some food or something, right? Yeah, yeah. Be a listener, be available. Yeah, presence and empathy. Yeah. We talk whether it's those notes you write. It's a time to try and send a text to initiate a get together, right? Something like that. Those are all good things because it is your presence and listening that just lets them know they're not alone. A crisis is overwhelming, makes people feel isolated, makes them have perhaps some more negative thoughts, not just the big questions, but just some self doubts like, why can't I figure this out? But by nature, these crises are overwhelming. They do overwhelm the support network, they overwhelm the capacity and margin that people have. So that's why these recommendations are important. So here's some final comments about that. Hinted at this more, but I wanted to mention it again. Do not make any unnecessary or reactive decisions during a crisis that really affects identity or worldview. So important to be able to do that, because in a crisis, there's a lot of regret that comes. When people add their own personal regret on top of things they wish didn't happen, that tends to be some salt in the wound that lingers for a long time. So it's this idea just to say, let's focus on what's right in front of you, get through the day, get through the week, whatever it might be, and then evaluate later on some of those decisions you want to make. Because being impulsive or just kind of desperately grabbing onto anything else to do that will create more regret. In terms of how we think and how we approach things, I believe that convictions and beliefs that are grounded on more than just your ability or wisdom are going to be a little bit easier to hold on to. When I'm depending only upon myself in terms of what I can do and my strength and my own capacity, there will be a situation, again, as I've observed through lots of years in the counseling office, that's going to push somebody right past those. So if you have a belief system where you can gain some of that strength, gain some of those answers that are beyond yourself, it's going to allow you to at least ride a little bit less of a roller coaster, because you have some extra insight or support that's coming from beyond you. So don't just depend upon yourself, because a crisis will mess up all of that. Have some other people or some other belief systems that are going to help you stay grounded. And then finally, this one might seem to make sense, but again, in a crisis, people withdraw and go inward. So the people you surround yourself with during a crisis moment are crucial to standing firm. Just important to remember. You go inward, you maybe want to flee from a situation. It's easy to find yourself by yourself. So having a support network or having one or two people that you speak to is going to be important, because they will help you get through it, especially if they're good listeners rather than giving directives, especially if they're comfortable sitting there and listening rather than seeing your pain and just encouraging you to make whatever decision you can so they feel better because you're in less pain. The right people around you are going to help you stand firm in whatever crisis comes your way. And in doing so, you'll be able to preserve that passion or purpose for life that is very, very important. And that's why this week was important, because to show care and compassion for yourself, even in the most difficult or unfolding or fast-paced or confusing times, is very difficult to do. So continue to read through the material this week, or be thinking about that, make those lists, because I want you all to get through that and not forget yourself and what's important. Next week, we'll talk more about kind of the environments we get in, kind of building off that last recommendation. Where are we at? How do we associate with other people? How can the environment around us, where we are, help us show care and compassion for ourselves too? And then we've got one extra week that we'll use as a bridge into Mental Health Awareness Month at the end of April. So nice to see everybody. Enjoy your workout today. I am here to just enjoy you guys and have some hot chocolate after a very unreasonable injury on Sunday that's been uncomfortable for the past 2 days on my leg. So yeah, good to be here. Have a good workout. Thanks.